So firstly, welcome to Hackerspace. Thanks for coming, and if anybody wants to know more about how Hackerspace works, find any members around. I'm a member, Roland is a member, Valentine is a member, and ask them how the space works, and we'll be more than happy to tell you more about the space. And if you want to become a member, we'll be more than happy to tell you how to do that as well. So the idea came up with Denisa and Ivan. Originally,
you guys are responsible.
and so when we were traveling to Chile last year, we were, or rather, I think when we contacted you if you knew anybody in Chile so that we could check out sort of the local scene there. And out of that discussion fell out this thing that when we all come back, we should meet and show and tell sort of what we saw. Our trip was in August.
Exactly a year ago.
Yeah, no, actually, it was August last year. It was a bit more than a year ago. And we were in Santiago for 2 weeks, and in the north of Chile, in the Atacama Desert for 2 weeks. And in Santiago, there is a really nice makerspace. So we got to meet there. We got to go there for one evening. Yeah. We were in Santiago for a wedding, so we had a lot of other things to do. But we managed to check out just the hackerspace, and we went to. Although I don't think we have photos of that, but we went to the startup Chile area. So the Chilean government is doing a massive push on startups in Chile. So there is a kind of like a Block 71-ish thing. So it's not really space for startups, but it's more of a space for talks, and it's an office and hot desks. So we managed to go there. I don't
like
think,
plug-in.
Yeah, a bit like plug-in. I don't think I have photos of that, do we?
Not really.
You can see, maybe there's one on Instagram or something.
Yeah.
You can pull that up. But otherwise, I'll show you some photos from it's called Santiago Makerspace, and I'll sort of show you what we are seeing and how it was. It was much bigger than this. It was in a very hip district, a little bit like the old Hackerspace at Arab Street. In a very hip place, there's a lot of restaurants around the road. And the building itself was an old hat factory. And because of that, it had a very high ceiling, you will see that. And it was actually quite a gigantic space. They were using some part of it for doing like hardware workshops. There was like a proper tool bench, and you'll see that as well. And they were doing plastic, was it molding? They were teaching people how to do plastic molds, like resin forming. I don't know what it's called, like when you're making like plastic. Yeah, I think I have one of the things here.
Yes, we brought back one.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
There you go. Stuff like this. So this is a souvenir we got.
Wow.
So they were teaching people how to make stuff like this. And they were doing woodwork and all sorts of stuff. At the back, I think we saw like a conference room, and then there was a big space in front, which is the most of the photos you will see. So
yeah, I think what I liked about that makerspace/hackerspace was the diversity of the activities. We saw cooking.
Yeah.
We saw people doing gardening. We saw people playing with electronics and music, like arts and science. And of course there were web startups, but it's just the diversity. And I think this year, thanks to William, we see that sort of thing a lot more in this area. But at the time when we saw it, we were like, oh my gosh. And also what I liked was the old Apple, a little bit of museum thing that they had.
At the back.
But I think pictures speak the
most
words,
just
so
go to
let's start
pictures.
with that.
And yeah, so there are some nice pinball machines. Very, very aptly Star Trek. I don't know what's the second one. The Machine? As you see, it's a super tall ceiling because it was it's second floor of a factory actually.
It's huge.
Yeah, and this is sort of their logo, Santiago Makerspace. It's pretty cool. They did a maker fair earlier last year as well. So we were there after the maker fair, so we saw some maker fair logos and stuff around. And yeah, there was a big hot desk kind of a thing. People were just sitting down doing things.
Yeah, it's huge.
It was pretty big. And because it was an old hat factory, they didn't really have any insulation, so they used to have these room heaters.
It's nice to sit beside here when it's really cold.
Because it did get
and
cold.
we went in winter.
Indoors.
Yes, it's actually, yeah.
They're dramatically inefficient, aren't they?
No, they are, and you should not be having them indoors, like what Roland said. It's carbon monoxide poisoning what
And
they show.
they do look a bit like hats.
Well, that's all it is.
And actually, this was a bunch of people that were preparing for a cooking
The cooking
workshop.
class, yes.
So I don't know what they're cooking. We were there halfway and then we left
Yeah.
before they finished whatever they're doing. And this bit was where there were a couple of startups. I think Fuzzbox was a startup.
Yeah.
And a couple of another couple of years. Oh, there was a bunch of 3D.
Arduino, they were doing
No, there was a
that.
bunch of 3D printing
Yeah,
startups
3D
as well
printing as
that
well,
were
that's
actually. I think you can see the reels here. The 3D printing startups were a part of Startup Chile.
Yeah.
And they were using the Hackerspace as a space to build their stuff. Yeah, the pirate flag.
Pirate party.
Yes. That's lots of interesting contraptions and projects. I don't remember what this was. This was a Rube
Goldberg machine.
Rube Goldberg setup.
Do you know what's a Rube Goldberg machine? It's like one thing will trigger off.
Yeah.
You saw this advertisement, girls in don't know, you know these kids.
Oh, okay, cool. Right.
Yeah, every single video of OK Go is a Rube Goldberg.
Oh really?
Yeah.
So the girls was it girls? What was the girls?
They made a I don't know.
Anyway,
What's that
I'll-
For girls to do engineering.
Yes,
There
yes,
is
Yes,
a
yes, you
famous-
remember this kid? Three
Yeah.
girls were playing with.
Actually, there was a famous artist who was doing this in the 60s or 70s.
There you go.
there, this one,
Princess
this one.
machine.
This is yeah, exactly this one.
Sorry.
I got this.
Can we link?
Yeah. Hold on.
Anyway,
Does it have audio?
Yeah.
It's okay.
it's okay. It's okay.
We can hear it, it's
We
fine.
can move on or-
Is that gonna work? I'm not sure.
It'll work, it'll work.
I can get at it.
No, I don't think that's the output of the audio.
It is, it is.
Oh, there's a cable
Just
just
play.
Just a cable.
Just play.
Okay,
just
got it,
play.
got it. Go.
Nope.
Anyway, I mean,
Anyway, but this is
an
a Rube
example
Goldberg
of a
machine.
Rube Goldberg machine that kind of triggers
There
a
you go.
lot of things.
Just leave it be. I think that's an audio input cable. Don't worry about it.
Yeah.
on the other end.
No, don't touch it with it.
No, the other end is there actually, and it's half wired. Anyway, but you get the point.
Yeah.
I'll just stop that. Back to photos. So it was that. Yeah, I think this is the rest of it. Hello.
Right. Hey.
Yeah, there's
These
some
are the
old
Apple
Apple
machines.
machines. A tricycle-ish thingy, which was apparently battery operated. I don't even remember. I don't remember what was the story behind it. The next one was pretty cool. Oh no, this is a 3D printer.
The big one.
It's a big one. This was a startup that was
Yeah,
doing
this was
like
the startup that was doing
3D printing. This was the
Maker board. And
maker bot, and the next table was the cooking bit. There's a really cool photo of a bin that they created with.
I sent it to the SL2,
Yeah.
the sustainability lab.
So this was a robot they made.
With cassettes.
Yeah, no, so that's, I think I have a photo of that. No.
Okay, cool.
No. Okay. Anyway,
Anyway, we go on.
we'll come to that. And this is just a robot sculpture. This was pretty cool. For every machine they had a small little poster that explained what it did and the precautions you should take, and how difficult it is to use. So I don't know what a plancha is, but apparently it's not very difficult to use. Yeah, more photos. So this was the main room, and then if you went, I think, through these doors to the back, that was the workshop where they did all the woodwork and stuff, and then there was a conference room at the back. Yeah, this is a stitched photo. You can see the whole breadth of it. This was a cooking workshop that was going on.
Okay.
I had no idea.
Oh, I didn't think.
I see a lot
I
of
see
cooking
why.
going
Yes.
on.
I see why.
Corn thing, like doing something traditional with corn.
Yeah, it was a polenta. They originally did polenta, yeah.
They also do something local, I think.
Yeah.
In Chile, they must have something. Oh, that's a pity you didn't
It was-
know the recipe.
It was some kind of small pancakes now that I remember.
Tortillas.
No. Oh, that's all.
Yeah.
That's all I got. Sorry.
It's huge.
Yeah. Unfortunately, we were rushing out after that somewhere, so we didn't really have time to take many more photos. So, do you have any more in your Instagram or something?
No, I think,
Because I had already lost my phone, so I had no more Instagram
Oh,
from
yeah.
that point onwards.
You're not in the cloud.
Yes, we lost it in Santiago.
I
stolen.
no, it wasn't stolen. I dropped it in a cab. It's like the stupidest thing ever.
You dropped in a cow?
In a cab.
In a cab.
I heard the same thing
I
that you
heard it was
did.
a cow.
Alright.
What were you doing dropping things in a cow?
Well, maybe come out. Having a more interesting holiday than I have.
So, Denisa, should I plug your?
Yeah, you can. Or should we continue with South America, or you want to present Adeline on Cambodia?
Oh,
now?
anything. I can. Up to you. Keep going with this.
Okay, let's continue with South
Yeah.
America because I was just
The
recently
PPG?
in Brazil.
Okay.
And I'll have to, open some files. I
Sure.
mean, I have to open the
So
links.
if you're okay with
Yeah,
this,
yeah. And you're online?
Yes, I am.
Oh, great. So which is mine? This one about Brazil.
Yep.
I know how to use mine.
Yeah, just double click. It should work.
I'm trying to double click it. Yeah. No.
Double click the icon.
No, double click the icon.
No, that's okay. I'll
Yeah.
Yeah.
there you go.
Thank you.
This software.
Yeah, I know. I had to install it because it was for work, as you see. Otherwise, I wouldn't have that. But oh well. Yeah.
Sorry.
Alright.
That was, I was working on it for the last hour. PowerPoint is the easiest way to put some links in.
But what's PowerPoint?
Well, it's
Okay, you will not tell this to the Brazilians that I presented Brazil on PowerPoint. They will never let me in that country. So what is fascinating about Brazil, I really consider it the country of the free software.
It's like Impress
Really?
runs on Windows.
Yeah,
I didn't know that.
And here's the story. There's some interesting story. Just say cancel.
Sorry?
Cancel.
I can't believe what I'm watching.
Yes, I'm
Why?
really,
No,
I apologize.
Hey, but that
I
company
really
went-
understand you must be very disappointed.
Can you promise never to do this again?
Denisa! She's in a dilemma now.
Nope.
I'm going to create my next slideshow.
It's alright, just
Is that what I think
Okay,
it was?
pretend you've never seen this.
What?
And it will be only worse because my photos are on Facebook. So I'm just testing how much you can.
No. Oh, the font.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
so I actually visited Brazil back in May, first time in Salvador, and for a conference on science communication, public participation in science, because I work here at the NUS, and my interest is open science, citizen science, and similar issues, so art science and these things. And yes, I use Facebook and all these embarrassing things.
They are judging.
Actually, I'm originally from Prague.
Command line social network.
And no, it doesn't explain it. No, it doesn't explain it why I do this thing. I'm just lazy, seriously.
Prague, Brazil?
No.
It's cheap beer though.
So what happened in Salvador? I visited. In Salvador, they were just starting their hackerspace, and I just met some people. I have just photos of the people I met in Salvador. But what was fascinating about Salvador as a place for any hacker maker culture was their music scene. So even in the city center of Salvador, you will find a lot of these geeks that work with different like music instruments or trying to build their own like sound systems and so on, and old guys, so it seems like it's a culture from the 60s. So my immediate reaction was, wow, this would be the right place to bring some people to do something on sound and analog and digital stuff or something. So that was Salvador. I think that's definitely a place again to visit. And on my recent visit, which happened basically, I just came back a week ago or 10 days ago. That is how we met, and we start talking. Hey, let's show some pictures.
This was my fault because I was asking Denisa to tell me about what happened. So she was like, "Let's do a meetup."
So
Good idea.
the cool thing about it was we had a workshop on open science and hardware. So I was there basically at the conference, and we did a workshop with some local geeks and people from the Hackerspaces on, hey, how to build like more laboratory equipment type of meetup actually. So I'll show maybe some pictures from that. But from the places, I was in Rio de Janeiro, and that's not the capital of hacker maker culture because everyone says only only Sao Paulo is the place where we have the hackerspaces, but many people from Sao Paulo came to Rio and we started exploring what is there. So the first place we visited is this Templo space, and I'll just show some of the pictures. And I would describe Templo as this posh startup incubator co-working space, if I ever get into my pictures. And this was one of the first pictures I saw there. Their approach, I would say, is they're very much inspired by the Silicon Valley type of culture. It's a very posh space. You can see they have a swimming pool. It's like a really nice villa type of environment. And what impressed me most, they have a personal cook.
Wow.
In their space, yes.
We need this
Yes,
stuff.
this lady.
That's what we're missing.
That doesn't look cool, right?
Yeah, so
Hi,
imagine.
thanks for sponsoring the personal cook.
Thank you, Kai.
You're the best.
Love you. I want the pool. Can you give me the pool?
There's a
And,
pool right across the road.
so at the time when I was there, they had a workshop on Arduinos supposedly for beginners, but they were doing pretty advanced project with this guy Dado, who I will talk later about. And it was a really nice space. It's a very nice, like very modern, very well designed space. And these are the people in the co-working space. Like, so these are some dominant people that have some startups and are important. And yeah, and pretty much they have everything from startups and financial services to, interestingly, also companies like Adidas, and I don't know, some other companies that are trying to develop something new are also in the co-working space. Like, yeah,
Sounds like they're hijacking it, but anyway.
yeah, but you know, like if they're paying the bill and some younger
String
geeks can
innovation.
use the tools, I was not completely convinced it's the ideal model, but as a model how to finance a co-working space that tries to be a hackerspace, why not? Like my feeling about the space was that the communities are not divided. That even these startup people and people with money or from some corporate sectors and want to do something fun are hanging out with these like more alternative geeks in that space. I actually had a positive feeling about the space, and this is where they're trying to build a makerspace inside the co-working space. So they're trying to explore these more alternative formats.
How's it not divided? Surely there's different tiers of membership.
Yeah, definitely. There
And then
is
there's a
definitely.
makerspace and then there's a co-work.
But the makerspace is just starting, so I didn't ask, what is the price and similar. Like, it felt seriously that Adidas and some other companies that is there are probably paying most of the bill, and then their workshops and things, they're trying to do a lot of workshops and a lot of to offer these little spaces for some workshops and so on as a model how to make money. Yeah, these are some of the people. Sorry, some of the photos will not be directly linked to it. So as you can see, they work in the garden next to the swimming pool. Some people work here where the cook is, and there are some more private offices. There are some more offices where you're with other people, and here was the Arduino workshop.
So, did you get a gauge of like how many people hang out there on a daily basis?
You saw that blackboard, so it felt like 30 people.
Yeah.
And when we were there, there was something like 10 people working in different rooms, 10, 15 people. Plus they had the workshop with another 10 people.
Right.
This was the workshop, the Arduino workshop, then we talked. Oh yeah, I'll just show actually these guys because, so these two guys are the main geeks and hackers. Oda from, I think, Garuda or Garuta. It sounds like Garuda, the Indonesian. So that's why I mixed it up. And Ale, who is also at the university and hangs out at the same hackerspace. And I will talk about this guy, that's Yuri, who impressed me with his activities in Rio. Yeah, these are some random notes I took from the space. Oh, wow. And some parts were really, this is a very nice photo. They have a very nice light in that space. It feels very good design, like light design. This is the entrance, and yeah, and the garage. So that was the, what did I do? Okay, I will never find it again.
Microsoft does this.
Yes.
Hit the red button.
It's telling you need to install something.
Okay.
Cool. I don't know how I did it. We'll
It
see.
works.
Okay. So the next space, and that was much more impressive. So Dado, the guy who was doing the Arduino workshop, everyone was telling me, you have to meet Dado, you have to meet Dado. And so I was communicating with Dado to visit his makerspace. And it's pretty unique because the guy has his own private hackerspace, private makerspace.
Isn't that called a phone?
What?
Yeah.
What is it called?
His home.
Yeah, it's partially his home, and he just he's slowly. My feeling is he's slowly pushing his neighbors out of the garage around and just taking more and more space. And he has like 3 of these like garages around his home. Plus his home is also a makerspace, and in one of them the neighbor dared to have his car, and it was a bit like it felt like he's thinking how to get rid of the neighbor. So it's called OMS, and I forgot what it stands for.
It's a SI unit for register. Is it SI?
Yeah,
unit?
OM, yeah. But
Yeah, OM.
what? I think it means also something else.
No, it's a surname of a scientist.
No, but in this makerspace,
Yeah,
they
yeah.
probably have a backronym.
Is
I'm
it?
not certain now. I think it's not just the OM.
But it's
Overly
probably
handy
something in Portuguese,
makerspace.
right?
Overly handy makerspace.
Yeah, but the idea was we were discussing it.
Oh,
it's
hello,
big.
makerspace.
It's,
I have to
for
ask
our-
Dado.
it's a
Maybe I'll
collective
send
term
him.
for yoga
Like,
classes.
oh my gosh, you know.
I can, in
Oh,
your
I-
name, can I pose the question? Maybe he responds.
Sure.
I'm kidding. So this is Dado, and we exchanged some gifts.
Durian!
Yes, he got the durian candies, and everyone was asking me about the durian. And I got this thing which is not laser cutted. He's actually very good. He does woodwork, yeah. And he was explaining us that he prefers woodwork over laser cutting. And he had a lot of machines for that type of things. This is again Ale. We were like playing with different tools. I forgot this is like some of the project he did with some children. The place is incredibly well organized. I've never seen such a place. Okay, just one thing to explain about Dado. He actually offers his makerspace to all kinds of people, and they usually don't pay him. He's just this incredibly nice guy who wants to create a community. So he was asking all the guys that came with me, hey, are you from Rio? They were all from Sao Paulo. So then we finally found one guy that was from Rio, so he was very happy. But he has a very lively community around him of people, also from the favelas that come and work on projects. The problem is sustainability of his space, because right now he's paying everything, so he has to do some freelance work. I'll talk more maybe about him in a minute, just to show some of the objects. Yeah, and what's really nice about his space and him, he's obsessed with looms. It's all kinds of traditional old and new looms. And on my back, if you can show it, there is some piece of textile outside. Yes, that. I got that as a present. And another one from his wife, who is also...
So you want me to pass it around?
Yeah. So this is another loom. Don't ask me how this thing works. He was actually showing us and I still didn't get it. So this is some prehistoric form of hacking.
This is where programming first started, right?
Yeah.
Programming loops.
Yeah.
Jacquard.
But these are also this textile
Yeah, of course.
industry.
Yeah, it's much older. Yeah.
Yeah, but he's totally obsessing over it. He's even buying, and he kept coming with like bigger and bigger.
You haven't seen this one, right?
Yeah.
And it would enlarge the house.
And this is something he's exploring, like some technique. It's almost like he invented this, I think, or he's testing some ideas of how to do. So very interesting person, because he's so much involved, as you will see, in programming and hardware, and then he develops this interest in textiles and just buys this. It's like a museum of looms in his space. Yeah, and this is something he also made. It's a huge boomerang, and the guy who carries it is the main biohacker in Brazil, Otto, who is a typical iGEM, sync bio person with some interesting interest.
Does it turn?
So this is how the space looks from outside. This is one of the garages with Dado inside. And I forgot he had there was some logic. The one is more woodwork, one was more metalwork, I think. And I forgot what was the third one. Okay. Yeah, this is where he was showing us how he recycles refrigerators into these. I have a description there. So what they tried to do was some high-level particle physics contraption, where they're trying to get the cosmic rays in it's like in gas of alcohol. So alcohol evaporates, but they cool the temperature on -29, and then it supposedly catches these particles. Am I right?
It's a cloud chamber, yeah.
Yes, that's one.
Right, cloud chamber.
So they built it, and they couldn't get to -29. They got to -27.
Oh yeah!
Yeah, -23. Okay, I'm sorry. So he says it's very difficult, even if it sounds it's just few degrees.
No,
with these hacked refrigerators turned into, what is it called? Cloud chamber. It's impossible. But I was
Used to go to
surprised.
Canada in winter. It gets
Yeah.
colder than that outside.
It's not a nice thing to tell to a person from Brazil. Okay, these are some pictures from his makerspace. It's impressive. It's absolutely the most impressive makerspace I've seen, and he's just incredible. I just want to write about this guy because I've never seen.
Of course.
Yeah,
I edit Wikipedia.
he sometimes hacks people into horses.
Of course, like you do.
I need a t-shirt so I
And
vandalize.
he's showing us some of the tools he has there, which most of it I didn't understand what it serves for.
It's a gas mask.
Yeah, that thing, yes, but I mean the tools. Okay. And I think I have another set of pictures. Oh yeah, I included also his material. This is, I'll leave the file for people that don't feel they'll lose their soul if they touch a PowerPoint. He does a very good job in
Google Plus on PowerPoint. Oh dear.
That's actually a very good job in terms of documenting the tools he has and the projects.
Nice.
So we can maybe look more into this. So I mean, what I attempted to do is just like provide all the links, basically. This one. Yeah, so this is his name. He used to work at Rio University.
Right.
And he had a lab of embedded software, but then he left and he started the makerspace. And now he works at the art and science department. He was very disappointed with the lab, with this lab for embedded software, because they actually moved away from his projects and they're just doing apps, as he described it. And I also included the website where there is more like description of his projects, like in details and how to do it. And what Dado is famous for is this language, which some of you should explain to me what it is exactly. But he's one of the creators of this embedded Lua. And
So the interesting history about Lua is Lua is a programming language, not the
Created
embedded
in Brazil,
version.
actually, right?
Yeah, not the
Yeah,
embedded
yeah.
version. The original normal Lua was
Yeah.
created in Brazil
Yeah.
because this was I think 70s or 60s or
Yeah.
what? No, even later, 80s, when there was massive. What do you call it? Export control from the U.S. and a lot of compilers were not allowed to leave American soil without because they could be they were considered weapons. So
Munition is the word. that's
ammunition,
called.
yes. Munition, yes. So apparently some guys in the university, I think it was Rio University, sort of made Lua from their own. It's sort of programming language lineage is very different. It's nothing to do with like where the programming language research was at the time in the rest of the world, because they just did not have access to all that technology. So they just sort of created it by their own, which is a pretty interesting story. And I'm guessing this guy sort of took that on and sort of brought that into the embedded world.
yeah,
Right.
yeah.
It also has really important uses, and the history book explains why, for very low resource use
Yes.
in embedding, not in hardware, but in software. So the Tokyo Cabinet database, known as Tokyo Tyrant server, is built for extreme speed. And so if you want to embed like triggers or small programs in a database built for extreme speed, you want a very low resource using language. So Lua is the programming language built into Tokyo Tyrant. and likewise Wireshark, the really widely used network analyzer. All of its internal magic is done with Lua as well.
Interesting.
So it's
I didn't know that.
yeah.
And in a lot of games, the UI and a lot of scripting is done in Lua.
Okay.
Yeah, scripting especially.
So embedded Lua, if I understand it, is Lua for hardware, for
Yeah,
embedded.
for running on small Raspberry Pi.
So Dado is behind that project. He's one of the people that created this, and this is what he recently shared with me. That NASA is starting to use Lua, and also some other guys that do flight telemetry data. So his language is, or this thing is becoming quite
Beyond
famous.
us.
And yeah, I missed this part. They were just starting the Tesla coils when I was there, but it was like day after I left. It didn't work somehow the first day or something. And Tesla coil is always, I call it a rite of passage for many hackerspaces. So my Czech hackerspace in Prague just showed the Tesla coil this summer. So I think, guys, we have to build a Tesla coil.
Yeah,
I
come
was
on.
thinking of before or after we get a cook.
So yes, in Rio they already have the Tesla coils with some
You get enough
neighborhoods.
DIY bio people here to,
Yeah.
to have decent food made.
And then I really like this website they have in Brazil, DIY.com Brazil. I was searching for Dado's link and I find this website. It's quite nice. They try to show what is going on in Brazil. And yeah, these are some of pin interests at Dado's. Okay, one important thing to mention about Brazil and one very big problem people have there, it's really hard to get any type of electronic components, anything inside the country. It takes 3 months, so it's not, I was convinced when Seed Studio told me that back in April, I was like, oh, they're exaggerating. No, they're not. Everyone is complaining. He's basically smuggling most of his components inside the country.
What happens in those 3 months?
The customs just keep it and they try to figure out how much you should pay taxes.
They have obscene import duties
Yes.
on anything electronic.
Yeah. Okay,
To protect
so
their burgeoning electronics industry.
Indeed.
this was the open science hackathon we had with hardware. This is a group of people. And I have to say, these two guys, they're family. That's Marcella and Yuri and Dora. And they completely impressed me. So they basically travel in a caravan. They live like nomads. And they're connected to another place I'll mention because they actually told me about this place. And they just like go from a community to community in different cities. Basically, they live in the car sometime, I understood. And they just make different like stuff. They're just hackers. Makers, like
In province.
yeah, and they're just
Like
incredible.
gypsies selling
Yeah,
their
they're like
trinkets.
gypsies, but
Except these guys
think-
probably don't steal your
Journeyman
stuff.
That is.
it was quite unique in terms of. This is Otto the biohacker, and I'll tell something about his project soon. They're building a pipetting machine.
Okay.
Like an open science pipetting machine. And also during the workshop, he was testing another idea for a prototype where, I think I have the picture later, where they're trying to create a special light which can influence bacteria. I don't know more about it, but something like they want to influence bacteria through light. So it's some type of an equipment he needs for his microbiology experiments. For some people, it was the first time they were using Arduino, so we had this guy from, I didn't do anything, from Argentina who was into agriculture. He was like a PhD student in agriculture, and this is the first time he used some humidity sensor, and he was building something that he thinks will be useful for him in the future. Oops.
What is a pipetting machine, sorry?
That's pipette. In a lab, you need to put
Oh,
like
like just like
DNA
measure the
extract.
doses.
Yes,
All
and
right.
measure doses. So it was nice that we also got some people from Argentina and so on.
and what's next to it?
This is,
Oh, yes,
guess
of course.
what?
No way. Wait, what is this in Brazil?
It's the only one that's
Outside.
Well,
Look at
actually, there's a
that.
couple in
gas.
It's the only one that's in the American.
Yes.
You took a set, didn't you?
Yes, I did.
The taste sensor.
Yahi.
Yahi.
Oh.
I did some exchanges of hardware and it shocked.
Nice.
What an appropriate gift.
Yeah. And Roland was completely shocked because they managed to put it on the top instead of inside, but I think they did it because they wanted to see it for a while.
It's fair enough.
They probably just ripped it apart and sold the copper.
No.
Hopefully that's not.
This is where they're testing something. This is the kid was incredible. It was very quiet. It didn't make any problems. And this was a spectrometer made by Yuri. DIY spectrometer. And funny photos. Yeah, so this is the happy Argentinian whose name I forgot, connecting his first humidity sensor. Yes, I brought some paper circuits for people that never built anything with electronics, and it was like great. Yeah, yeah. Yuri showing me some of his stuff, but I forgot.
ICT.
Yeah, this is it.
Looks like a bunch of potentiometers on the other side.
Circuit was made in residence. Yeah, this place.
See the other side?
Yeah, can you
Those
see the
things
other
are the
side?
They're pots.
Pots, potentiometers.
Variable
Can we-
resistor.
Can we
Volume
see
control
the
type
other
things.
Oh, okay.
Volume control type things. That's nice.
What
There
IC
you
is
go,
that?
those things.
What IC is that?
Oh.
So, I don't know, this
Hard to say.
It's
hard to
potential.
say.
What number is that?
I can't see it from here.
It is.
Oh.
Oh. I think it was
This is
some.
the IC. You can't
Ah,
see.
yeah. Okay. Okay.
It's
Well,
an 8-pin dip, it can't be that
Yeah.
important.
And this is probably the power regulator.
Oh,
Put it down.
555, I guess.
So it's all about the number
Oh
of
no, it
pins,
can be an
isn't it?
amplifier. There are
Yeah,
many,
it could
many.
be amplifier, yeah.
Yeah,
Could be
there are
amplifier.
many,
It looks
many.
like an amplifier actually.
Yeah, I think it must.
But there are many, many 8-pin dips.
Yeah.
You
The
also
best
built a
it could be is
microscope.
like an 80 tiny.
Oh,
Yeah.
microscope.
Could be a
That's the
tiny
most
as well.
powerful 8-pin dip.
Yes, a microscope he made.
Oh, microscope.
Wow.
Yay.
I like microscopes.
Okay.
Something to do with audio.
Actually, what you saw, what you were speculating, what type of hardware it is, he explained to me that it's something you put, it's some form of electrolysis that you put something in a water and you create hydrogen. And I have a link to that. I didn't completely understand it because
So, which I was explaining to
yeah, this you probably don't see, but that's Karl Marx Capital. As
Appropriately.
Two of them. Volume 1 and Volume 2.
yeah, this was the scientific institution. It was like some really important university postgraduate institute that was hosting us. And the last slide I have, so that was the institute. It's IBICT. And amazingly, they have even like science communication part of it. So it's all this nano, bio, important type of disciplines, and then they have the science communication part where I think our conference was part of it. Brazil is taking seriously its Open Science Challenge, and I think that's why they organized the conference, that they want to support it. On Storyfight, there is a whole story about the conference, which I will not mention. So this space was mentioned to me by Yuri. It's called Nuvem, and it's some form of a rural hackerspace here. And they're building this special rural circuit. One of them produces this hydrogen, as I understood. Another one is to produce ozone. So that was the type of technology they're working on in the rural hackerspace. And him and his wife Marcella, when they don't travel, so they hang out on this. It's like an alternative commune, from what I understand. Yeah, this is the website of that hackerspace, rural hackerspace.
Which city was the last hackerspace in?
Nuvem, this is that one.
I mean the one before that?
So I mentioned only 3 places. One was the co-working space
Yeah.
for
That was
startups.
Sao Paulo.
No, everything is in Rio, and this
Oh, everything's in
Nuvem
Rio. Oh.
thing is not in Rio. This is somewhere else.
Oh, okay,
I don't know
everything's in Rio.
exactly where. So I mentioned the places in Rio and this one. Okay, that's it. You survived.
How was the language
Yeah.
thing? I was wondering, like, did most people speak English or?
I would say maybe because it was a conference, so many of the people were academics and people somehow connected. We had 50-50%, but we somehow understood. Like
But
you know,
what-
like
what-
I didn't completely.
Portuguese.
Yeah, Portuguese. I had a bit of Latin, so that's why I can decipher. So when they speak to me, I cannot understand, so I ask them to write it down, and then I get something.
What about in the makerspaces?
The makerspace was Dado. He is fluent in English. I think he lived in the
So
States.
that was I mean, all the different makerspaces, like the,
Sao Paulo, you mean? And,
No,
in Salvador.
in-
In Salvador, the guy that I met, Rafael, he was he was fluent in English.
because we had some problem. I mean, it wasn't in the Santiago makerspace. It was cool because a lot of people spoke English.
But you could see that it's a second language.
But
They don't
yeah,
speak it,
most of them were having trouble, and they were
Definitely
really
it's
shy
a
actually
second
to
language.
speak English.
Yeah.
And so it was really hard to sort of talk to them and get them to show us what they were doing. But once they got into it, once I was some guy was with Arduino and audio, and I was like, oh, this is this, and then he opened up, and then although he was finding it difficult to express himself, he tried really hard to tell me what he was doing and what he was trying to do. So it's a great thing that if your interests match, people will really put in the effort.
Yeah, to connect
But
with you.
other places in Santiago, it was quite hard because they were all speaking Spanish and nobody wanted to speak English.
I think they're not, they don't have many reasons to use English because in Portuguese, like it's a big country
Yeah,
and
they
they're
do most
pretty
of the stuff
comfortable.
internally,
Yeah, but I was evil, so I was criticizing it, and I was constantly pushing for English as some evil colonialist because I do believe it's important for the exchanges.
I
Yeah,
agree.
and they agreed. Like no one had a problem. Like I didn't encounter this that someone wouldn't like to talk to you. It was just that we had to use special skills to
Sure, but that's
translate.
that's really traveling.
And
Did you ever use emoji? Thinking that could be a common way of communicating with anybody nowadays.
Thanks, Guy.
Take that one, use
We'll
Google
take that as
Translate.
a advice.
You can even chat to 5-year-olds this way.
Okay, so Google Translate next time.
Yeah.
Adeline, do you want to continue with Cambodia?
Yeah, sure. And then
You
just,
need,
I'm sorry, I don't have as many pictures as everybody.
Oh,
it's just because
Mine's
mine
really
are
short.
on Facebook.
you want to yank out, yeah, Benice's.
So I hope you didn't get any virus.
No, I don't know.
It's a Mac.
Oh yeah, oh yeah.
Was that your PowerPoint?
No, I mean, it was
No,
PowerPoint
no.
made by her, but I
You
had
have it installed.
it's work laptop.
Oh, now you're in trouble.
Chinmay, you're in trouble
Sorry,
now.
you wanna
What did you
close this
blurt
or-
out?
Yeah.
Just
Oh my lord.
Goodness, would it be such a big difference if it was PDF? Come on, don't be a purist.
Every slideshow I've ever made is in
You got it?
HTML.
Oh.
This wonderful open markup format, which
I'm gonna
is
show it to
rendered by
Michele.
there you go.
browser.
When you
Is it like a standard?
I put my
folder,
name
get that.
because-
Let me do that for you.
Karana.
HTML? Yeah.
But
It's
I
pretty
would
cool.
have to, program all the interaction with the
No, but there is
clicking
this
and-
website called Slides.
There's this thing called Link.
No, I haven't used it.
What is link? Links.
This
You can
website,
link to
just-
each
Yeah,
page.
yeah,
It's
exactly.
really awesome, by the way.
So you drag and drop here, and it will create
Stuff is awesome.
Come
HTML.
on, in PowerPoint it's much easier. Of course I understand that it's cooler, you can put it
Someone's going to
online.
write a GUI for any HTML.
Dude, slides.
Slides, yeah, this is the one.
That would be the.
Slides, try it out. It's
It's got pricing
I
involved.
didn't hack
Data
it.
Yeah, okay, do that.
They got
the domain. And then they got enough funding to buy it.
I got Levitat
You know,
too.
Review-
Levitat, yeah. I got a lot.
Real.js is the open source framework that he uses to do
That's
this thing.
like SLID.
And then he just does a whole.
Why isn't this?
Ah, I just use.
Okay, sorry, the first two slides are extremely boring. So what happened was
skip to
I'm new to this hacking
Sorry,
stuff,
it's just-
but I go to Cambodia for wildlife conservation work and to do research. So when I've been going there since 2009. So of course all the hackerspaces in Cambodia and Phnom Penh started in 2011 after I left. But they have quite a lot going on over there. So when I went this time, Denise introduced me to a few people. So the first place I stopped at was a place called Instead, which is when I went, so they have their
They had it from Rockefeller.
yeah, so they've got startup funding, but they mostly, as far as I can tell, they only do mobile apps. So they do mobile apps like where you know people can text from their Nokia phone like some information, and then they either send it out to the community or they try and put it onto maps.
Wait, this for feature phone?
A feature, like just a normal, like
Feature phone?
what's a feature phone?
A non-smartphone.
Yes, a non-smartphone.
Also known as a dumb phone.
Yes, an old phone. So they're trying to do a lot of those kind of apps. So they try and work with NGOs. So they are also looking to partner with NGOs that may have some reason to use either the app that they have or to develop new apps. So when I went there, I would say like 90% of the office is are locals. There were a few foreigners, and they're all quite quiet. So it was open. It was an open day or whatever, but it wasn't an open day like you came and hung out. Like people were just doing their work. So I went there and introduced myself and talked to some people. So if you're interested in that, like you can work with them. And then there's this place. So while I was at Instead, they were like, hey, you should go to this place called Development Innovations. They're having a talk today. So Development Innovations is more of it's a much bigger space. They own like a building. They don't own it. They rent a building in Phnom Penh. So it's several floors. Each of the floor, I think they have a co-working space there, but they're trying to figure out how to get that going. They also do like talks and networking. They do training. Also a lot of locals there. And Cambodia, because of what happened in the 70s, is a very young population. So many of when you go there, like most of the Cambodians can speak English. They really stopped. They really don't learn French so much nowadays. And yeah, they're very friendly and they're very keen to learn. So these two spaces are really cool. And then when I was at Development Innovations, this all happened in one night. One of the guys was like, "Oh, we're going over to the Hackerspace. They're having their first meeting on their plans, and they've just moved into new space. You wanna come?" So I said, "Yeah, okay." So I hopped onto a motorbike, and then I went to oh my god.
Hackerspace PP? Is that one?
Oh, okay, yes.
There you go.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Double click the icon.
Yeah.
Double click.
I did.
Or just
Okay. So I guess we do.
You just press spacebar.
spacebar.
Okay.
Spacebar. Yeah, there you go.
Oh my god, I got the wrong photo.
And then just press the next, forward and back. And then show.
Oh no! What the hell are these? Okay, sorry. Okay, so this is the Hackerspace. Oh my god! Okay, so this is the Hackerspace. It's really funny because
The back of the photo again.
It's invisible.
it's invisible. If you can see, they have a side door with the stairs going up to the second floor, and on the left there in the background is a mini mart, which is open pretty much all the time. So the guys are saying it's really nice. They have
It's the next.
it's not.
Up and down.
I think
It's sort of freaking out.
the thing is it in here? Is it in the folder or
Inside.
maybe it's inside?
Well, I had saved several.
A lot more.
Just say view by.
This could go anywhere.
Okay, so how do I just
Press.
select all?
Yeah, just. Well, that's gonna.
Actually, Macs are famous for not being able to do this.
What? Just use the spacebar again. It's easier.
Well, every time I open a bunch of images on a Mac, it just goes mental.
Yeah.
Preview.
Just,
Why don't you?
yeah, there you
Okay,
go.
alright, let's see how this
I
goes.
just like
Open
a
with
couple,
preview.
a million.
And then just press the top right hand corner and it'll go full screen. There you go.
The
Yes.
open with.
And then
Okay,
just
alright.
go forward and backward.
Okay, there's the mini mart. Okay, alright. So so they had different people presenting. This guy is in charge of, like, I guess he's been running this Linux group out there. And, this is their space, so it's quite new. So the Phnom Penh Hackerspace guys have been doing it since 2011, I think, but then they moved into a new space like in the last like half a year or a year. This is one of the main guys. His name is Jack. He is from the UK. If I'm not wrong, he used to work for IBM, I think. So now what they do is this space you see here is like the presentation space. That's like a little spider robot thing that they built that costs like less than $2, but they use it as an educational tool. And then on this left side here, you can see the desk. So that is their co-working space. So this, I think, is kind of similar to the thing in Brazil that you visited, Denisa, except that these guys are not rich, like super rich. There is no private chef here. There is a bar in the back where they do like cocktail nights like once a week. But what I really like about the group, so this guy here in the checkered shirt, he's one of the guys who regularly uses the oops.
They speak Khmer?
Huh? Khmer?
Yeah.
Yes. I think he's been there for like 7 years. Jack has been there for like 5. So many of them speak Khmer.
Okay.
You can see that. I mean, a lot of locals showed up as well, which was really nice. But they weren't as they were quite quiet. And so they have a co-working space where you can buy a card that gives you like a certain number of days you can come. So you pay like a lump sum or something, and then you come and you stamp it.
How much is the fee?
I forgot. They told me you can go on their website and check it
It's
out.
$100 a month.
Is it? It's $100 a month.
$100 per month.
Yeah.
There's a short term also, like 1 week or 1 day.
Yeah,
$7.
yeah, something like that.
$100 a month, isn't that like
So who gets to afford that?
Sorry.
average wage?
Who usually
So the
affords
Hackerspace doesn't have that many Khmer members, but did you
No,
go to the small
they're
space?
mostly all. I think
All
one
expats.
Khmer guy.
Yeah,
One
but
Khmer guy.
Small World.
No, I didn't go to Small World.
There's another place called Small World which has a
Okay.
lot more locals.
Okay. And you don't have to pay for a membership fee for that one?
In Small World, you just show up.
Okay.
Small World is more of an incubator space if you have some sort of startup idea. Whereas this is like you can just go there and work. Like for me, I was like, oh, well, maybe who knows? I usually work in the hotel. So this is where this is at the back where one of the guys is doing a lot of. He's making a laser tag. Where is it? Here. So he's making this laser tag gun.
Ooh.
I think he's almost done.
Laser tag.
It's a laser tag.
You don't know what's a laser tag?
But for 2014.
It's much safer. It's not an actual weapon.
You watch How I Met Your Mother.
You know, like Cambodia always has border problem with Thailand. And
Yeah.
Thailand has a lot of weapons.
Yeah.
So Cambodians are figuring out ways of getting.
Okay, so they're trying to find their own weaponry.
That's great.
No, this is
People
I believe
Yes.
you.
It's a good angle.
Oh.
It's the one you have like a sensor.
Yep.
Then you just cover it.
No, you can't.
She can.
You're covered in sensors. How many arms do you have?
You're covered in sensors,
Back,
yeah.
on your head, everywhere.
Sorry, okay. So what I
You could hide under a blanket.
Also, or you can have at home.
okay, then
Ooh, cool.
this is a 3D making space called Arc Hub. Did you go there?
No.
So they opened last year. Set up by two brothers who are American, but I think their family's Cambodian. So they moved to Phnom Penh and set this place up. So that's one of their 3D printing machines. They've got another one which I didn't take a photo of. The guy on the right there, he's one of the founders, and then the guy in the blue shirt is like helping out. And this was a day where they had a 1-day hackathon to design something. So you basically anyone was invited. You form little teams, and then they will give you some household items like a pencil or toothbrush, and then you were supposed to innovate and make something new. So people came in their own teams. What I like about the Hackerspaces too is that they tend to do a lot of work with the NGOs on sustainability and not so much conservation. I'll say alternative livelihoods and things like that. So that was nice. So they made a lot of small models that the NGOs took and showed to the communities what it would look like. What are they designing? This is a very interesting product that my team came up with, which was made out of mosquito nets for keeping your clothing inside. Don't ask me why. And so this is my team here. It was Jack and Leo and Ole. And then and so for this day, the kids at the back, there's an amazing school that got set up in Phnom Penh by a group of Americans last year, and then they went around Cambodia picking out like bright kids from rural communities. Then they brought them to Phnom Penh, and they're teaching them in a way that is very alternative. So they do like making, they do gardening. I think they have some standard classes. Like 1 year ago, these kids couldn't speak English, and they were and then now they're taking them to these hackerspaces, and
Nice.
they're taking part, they're asking questions.
Wow.
They were there to learn networking, so they were supposed to come over and like introduce themselves and say hello.
So young.
Yeah, so young. They're really young.
10 years old.
Yeah. Oops. Oh, there was a video, but anyway, that's fine. So these are some of the teams. This group made a toothbrush with floss and toothpaste and everything rolled into one, which we all really liked. Then the next day, as part of the hackathon, the kids came back again, and then different people did classes for them. So Leo was showing them like he took out that heating element inside the hairdryer, and then he's showing them how that you can cut things with the styrofoam. So he was making like letters, and they were all really they thought they loved this. They were really cool. This is one of my new best friends. He makes and sells kombucha in Cambodia, which you can't really do here. So so I gave Alex.
Why can't you do it here?
You can't sell it here. I think if you do home brewing.
Sure, yeah.
But
You can't sell it, yeah.
So what is it? It's a Cambodian beer?
No, kombucha is a
fermented tea.
It's a fermented tea that's and the organism is a symbiotic thing of
like
yeast
kefir.
and bacteria.
Let's do it.
And then they brought me to at a Mexican place on my last day, and then
Let's do it.
and then there's Small World, and I think are there any more other places there? I don't think so.
There is one in Battambang.
Oh, there's one in Battambang. Okay, Battambang is like rural area, so like I mean rural as in out of the city. It's maybe like 5 hours, 6 hours from Phnom Penh.
Is that by locals or is it by?
Well, it's like.
Oh, then I visited the kombucha factory. That is
But it's not really.
Oh no, it's his
like
living room.
somebody's
It's his living room
house.
furniture.
Yeah, it's
He's
more
got
organic.
a lot of
So it addresses some
kombucha.
community needs.
Yeah.
I see.
Yes, but yeah, there's a lot going on there, and it's very young. I mean, and also mostly driven by foreigners, but I think development innovations is doing a lot for education. Yeah.
And then next weekend we have the bar camp.
Now,
So if you guys show up, Happy Pizza is on me.
Happy pizza!
Happy pizza is the best.
What is it?
Pizza. Happy
no
pizza. Wheat and
It's
pizza.
pizza with
Yeah.
sprinkled with happiness, and you can order it with happiness or extra happiness or.
What is happiness?
Super happiness.
you eat it before the bar camp
Okay.
starts.
It's like space cake, except.
Sprinkled on. Really?
And we have a very nice place. It's a secret place. I think the guys who came for the Force Asia, I took them to that
Ah,
place.
What's it called?
It's on Street 171.
Right.
It's a
Yeah.
place where you can
Both
have a
are- both
pizza
are
and there are
right.
dormitories inside. So
Yes.
if you have too much happiness, you don't need to worry about getting home.
Actually, Cindy and Adeline are organizing tomorrow something you should mention.
There's the rest of DIY bio as well, Alex as well. So
Oh yeah.
tomorrow is the. You say it because
You
I don't know
explain.
exactly what will happen
Alright,
between.
do you want to share something? You want to talk about Cambodia?
Yeah.
Well, it's okay. I mean, you should come. I will show you. It's not
Yeah, maybe I should. When is it? When's the bar camp?
next weekend.
I'm being very ambitious.
Barkham,
here.
Cambodia?
Yeah,
In Phnom Penh.
not bad. Yeah.
Well, your experiences are from 3 years ago, or did you say?
When did they start?
Yeah, I mean, what-
this picture.
Oh, this was just like last month.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Yeah.
I thought I got confused.
No,
Is
3
it
years,
this?
3 years ago they
Yeah,
started
it is on.
Oh,
doing,
3
yeah,
years
yeah,
ago.
yeah. Oh, bar
And
camp.
these are public
Yeah.
schools.
Yeah, so the bar camp, Phnom Penh bar camp is actually the first bar camp in Southeast
Wow.
Asia.
How
And
about
they
Siem Reap?
inspired. Siem Reap is not as big as this. Yeah, the people from here go and organize in Siem Reap, but the community is very strong here in Phnom Penh because, like you mentioned, there are lots of NGOs.
Yeah.
It's easy to get space.
Like in many places
Yeah.
in Indonesia as well.
Well, the
And then-
universities are in Phnom
Yeah, and
Penh.
then they had a Cambodian space program. They launched the balloon a few years back, about 2 years back. The Hackerspace guys, they launched the balloon with the iPhone and some camera.
Yeah.
And then after they launched it, they realized that they must get permission from Ministry of Civil Aviation.
But I'm curious, they got the funding from
Always
USA.
remember,
No,
always
that's the
ask
DI.
forgiveness
That's
instead of
another,
forgiveness.
the few
Yeah,
other
yeah.
startups.
Do first, then ask for
Red one
permission.
is cheap.
Yeah.
Really cheap.
Yeah, so they got the funding from elsewhere.
No, they didn't need funding. They just
didn't need funding.
People just bought their stuff.
Bought the stuff.
Yeah,
and
and then
is
they
there any
made it.
regulations that they have to meet? Like
So
say for example.
that's what they say in Cambodia. You care about the regulation after you do something.
say like in Indonesia. So.
Bring down the plane.
There probably is no regulation.
But they
'cause
have to
don't-
write a review report after every 3
No, no,
years
no.
of funding. They
Oh,
have to
that's
say.
DI.
Yeah.
DI has to do that. Yeah.
But the Hackerspace guys pay for stuff on
Yeah.
their own.
They are.
Oh yeah, sorry. So with the Hackerspace guys, I've been talking to them about the cheap stat. So the cheap stat is I sent this out to the DIY bio group. It's a
What is it?
it's a potential stat.
How do you
Cheap
spell
stat, CHEAP, cheap stat, STAT.
it?
It's one word, yeah. It's a PLOS publication, so it's free, yeah. So it uses this thing called anode stripping voltometry, is that right?
That's the one.
But also different. But then there's a new potential stat that can use different types of
So what is
methods.
the potential stat?
So it's identifying almost any analyte in chemistry. So if you are wanting to measure glucose in blood, heavy metals in water,
Vitamin C.
whatever.
So how does that work? It's like a spectrometer.
No, there's a few different things. Take a while to explain, but there are. If you think about the charging and discharging of a battery. There are things that go on near the edges that allow you to determine what's happening inside the cell. So if you do a correctly stepped current or voltage, depending on the situation, and you look at what's happening as you cross those transitions, at some point you'll go from there is resistance to there isn't. That tells you which heavy metal you're looking at. The voltage, where the voltage thing changes,
Gotcha.
where the thing suddenly changes, that's lead versus zinc.
So this is very similar to this method of non-intrusive power usage detection that I read about. So the idea is you hook around a wire and you see the transitions, right?
So this is intrusive, but what it's doing is detecting the point at which something changes. And then you look at which voltage that happened. That tells you.
And that gives you sort of a signature of a specific material.
You need a reference sample.
Exactly. Yeah.
So there's a range of these things. So this is a courtesy of Alan, I've actually been reading the papers behind these things. So bring up UMED.
How do you spell that?
UMED. It's a similar idea, but it covers a much wider range of techniques.
What should I space?
Voltimetry.
Optimetry?
VOLTA.
METRY. That's the one.
Yeah.
Wow.
I have the PDF. I can send it out to you.
I guess this is not going to work, right?
No, it doesn't work. All right. But yeah, it either uses paper electrodes or a couple of commercially available reusable electrodes. But you're talking under $100 in parts, and quite a bit under. UMED is a Arduino plus, like half a dozen parts.
I'll send you guys the article if you like. Anyway, so they were interested in making this, and I've been trying to order things. Anyway, I got blocked because I don't have a PayPal account, and that's why I asked you. But I'm gonna. So the guys in Phnom Penh are very interested in building this together. I'm building one as well.
That's the one.
But I'm gonna after talking to Roland and a few people, I'm gonna go with the cheap stat because the LA Maker Group has already made it together with a company in Pasadena, and they're testing it on the LA River, and they're also in touch with the authors of the cheap stat. So I figured that's the easiest thing to build because I could get like advice. I mean, I could probably write to these guys too, but it's been like 6 months of looking into doing this thing. So I would like to order everything and start making it. So I don't know who's interested in. Because I clearly have no experience.
Drop an
making
email
anything
in the Hackerspace mailing list.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure you'll have someone who would be interested, who would love to dabble in this.
And it would be nice because I also know a group in California, the Spanish girls who are also interested. Patch Blender that are interested in doing testing with the river that they have because they live at an abandoned textile factory where there used to be a lot of pollution.
Which where is this?
California. About an hour from Barcelona. And so there's quite a few groups that I've met, and so I keep passing this paper around, but then we haven't done anything. So I would like to order it and then.
Okay, we should talk. I didn't notice that email.
Yeah. And I talked about it at the Water Hackathon in Switzerland as well, but there was clearly no time in one day to make this.
But parts and tools we'll need to build and test are here.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. I'm interested in heavy metal testing, but like he said, you can pretty much do the test anything you're interested in.
Curious, why are you interested in heavy metal testing? What is the use case you're looking at?
Well, I'm interested in Cambodia and developing countries. So like in Cambodia, I think arsenic is one. You get mercury with gold mining. In South America, there's a lot of
mercury too. Like even when we were at the water hackathons in June, like people from other countries, everyone wants either something with spectrometry or people just need this detection of,
if you read the cheap stat paper, you can also do
mercury mostly.
You can also do DNA testing. You can sort of detect DNA with a specific sequence.
Well, what I mentioned to Rebecca, the walk again was 20 years ago. was needing to do PCR somewhere in Africa, and these people, not only could they not afford a $100,000 lab instrument, they didn't have reliable power. So it was out of the question even owning one. And so she worked out a way to do PCR, which is now very widely used, with a few thermometers that can open fire.
Yeah, probably.
Wow.
Because labour's cheap, and our bodies can do it without a $100,000.
It's more relevant, I
How hard
guess.
can it be?
Yeah, it's more relevant.
And so much so that it was published in Science, and Science was offering for, at that time, a kit.
Oh,
And the only thing they did was separate the electrolytic gel that's used for sorting tagged samples. To do the actual PCR is really simple stuff.
Yeah.
So
And
it's-
even now, especially for like wildlife conservation, like you can use molecular biology for a lot of testing. So in Madagascar, like they're sending everything out, and I was like, well, if you could build some of this stuff, then you could learn how to do it and do your own.
Show the Hackeria photos.
Next time.
So, yeah, this is Hackerspace mailing list. Drop an email if you're, I'm sure there'll be someone.
Okay.
And
Yeah.
for everybody else, you should check out the DIY Bio mailing list. There's a lot of.
Yeah,
interesting
so
stuff
Gabriel
going on.
on the DIY bio list has, offered to help with the cheap step too. In the
Big show
making.
all
But the two of us were like, we don't really know what we're doing, but
Yeah.
we said
We
I'll
should
help you.
tell everybody
And
that-
then
So did you order your bits?
sorry?
Did you order your circuit board from
No,
Seeds?
because I had no PayPal
Oh, yeah, no
account. That's why I
PayPal.
need him.
Got it.
Right, so,
Tomorrow is the present.
Oh.
Yeah.
which one? This one?
The first one, the talk and the workshop. Oh, no, next. Go back.
Oh, no, that's me. Sorry. Talk in the workshop. There you go.
They have something there.
So if you're interested in bees or making your own insect collection, come and listen to Dr. John Asher talk about bees. And he's going to show us how to preserve them and pin them.
Oh, that's disgusting. I don't know whether I'll.
It's not as disgusting as it sounds. Some of the bees are extremely beautiful as well. And there are a lot of structural characteristics sometimes too.
That will make it easy to
Can
paint.
I give an impromptu like presentation?
Yeah, correct.
Can I have a hardware from Lifepatch. They had this for the Kongenjo Art Festival, I think, and they created this fish collar for fishermen or like people who want to fish in Yokohama, because most people were not very keen on fishing. But this basically works as a 555. So basically it attracts fish. Yeah, so this is what Lifepatch in Yogyakarta did. So I brought it spontaneously. I didn't really think that I would present it, but this is one of it. And also apparently I realized I
And
have
Cindy, how does it work? I didn't completely
we
understand.
can try it tomorrow. So basically it calls fish. Apparently Tim Bill tells me that this sound, I don't
Like
know how
fish
true it
likes
is.
that.
Yeah, fish like that. So he caught a lot of fish in Yokohama because of this. So we could try it tomorrow in NUS, I guess, in Newtown or something. There's a lot of fish there.
You can do that with food.
And also
Longer range.
I brought, I don't know why I have this with me, but I brought Lifepatch webcam microscope that was nicely done by them. So yeah, you guys can try it if you want to. So
Actually,
that's it.
one of the microscopes were adopted in Brazil. I gave it to
Oh,
the
really? Give it to
Korean,
them. I
the
should give
family.
it to somebody here as well, maybe to the Hackerspace.
Spreading.
Yeah, he's
Okay.
in Kathmandu.
So, Robots and Dinosaurs is a hackerspace in Sydney. Which I visited a few years ago.
No, we wanted to go there last year on the way to Santiago, but it's not that near the center, is it?
Sydney is big.
Yes.
Yeah, it's
Sydney is 20 times the size of Singapore.
20 times?
Yes. Sydney.
So how far is it from some sort of like the circular quay in the middle of Sydney?
So Meadowbank actually is further out. Where it was in Cogra actually was sort of between the airport and the middle of town, so it was easy to get to, but they've now moved to Meadowbank. The place they own was a bit special. It was sort of out in suburban utopia. So that was the front of it, just looked like a house.
Wow.
They had free use of it for a year, and I'll get to why in a minute. This is actually the reason for telling the story. When I visited them, they were securely erasing hard drives. I don't have a photo, but it was an arrangement something like this.
Did it involve the use of thermite?
But no. Turns out that if you arrange your bricks correctly, that just propane will do. You don't even need acetylene. But you've got to have the bricks. You've got to heat them up. You've got to ventilate it correctly.
basically
And, yeah.
taking a furnace and melt it.
They were turning hard drives into slag, at which point it's very hard to read the data off them.
You would think.
You would think. So inside they had cool stuff, they had a laser cutter,
Fancy.
but there was a wall missing. And this is related to why they got free use of the place for a year. The previous tenants had made unauthorized modifications to the building, and there was quite literally shit everywhere. The police removed the meth lab that the previous tenants had constructed inside the building that they had modified illegally, which perhaps was a smaller of their crimes. And so the landlord was like, huh, we've got to do like 40 grand worth of rework just to put a tenant in the, a new tenant into the house. So he was a hacker himself. So he invited a hacker group to have use of it for a year for free, and if they could put together a revenue stream to make it worthwhile, then it would continue. I would say that didn't happen, and they've now moved to Meetup, which is somewhat west. But yeah, that's, different hackerspaces have quite different backgrounds and solve the problem of paying the rent in different ways. We have one extreme, these guys had the other. Anyway, that was all.
Nice to know shared stories.
Cool. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
If I can just borrow a computer. Just,
Oh, yes, sorry.
no worries.
Again?
Also, anyone planning to go somewhere in near future to some interesting space?
I'm homeless again, so if you know.
We can expect from you to bring down.
Again, but that's a perpetual thing.
You're perpetually homeless.
Homeless, yeah. Yeah, actually, I wanted to show you this space which you cannot see anymore. Has anybody been to the Zone 9 in Hanoi?
We'll win in a while. Sorry, it's just two devices trying to be smart at the same time.
Okay.
No, it's I've ripped out much of the crap.
Okay.
There are only two devices trying to outsmart each other.
Alright.
Okay. Do you want the keyboard or do you want
Yeah,
the
yeah, the keyboard is fine.
Okay.
Okay. So there is this space in Hanoi.
Just the red.
Ethiopia.
The red
Okay,
stone.
sorry. Let me just do images.
You should click Hanoi. Because there's a zone 9.
Left click.
Ethiopia.
Oh, okay.
So the big
Yeah,
button.
okay.
Can't.
Yeah. So the story is, okay, this is how it used to look like. So when people talk about Vietnam, they usually talk about Ho Chi Minh City. That's where everything is happening. Ho Chi Minh City has they used to have a hackerspace which only lasted for 2 months and closed down, but they have a few co-working spaces, and there's a lot of tech companies. Hanoi tends to be much more quieter, but this is a very interesting place that came up. It's actually a pharmaceutical factory. In the 1970s and 80s, this used to be a pharmaceutical factories. And then the company went out of business, so they just left the buildings over here, and then slowly local artists started taking over. Local artists and makers, they started taking over this space, and they started building it. They started building very nice clubs, galleries. One of the most well-known painter in Vietnam, he opened his studio over here. I think these photos are not so clear. You can see
It will get clearer in a second, yeah.
yeah, so they really spent a lot of effort and made this into a nice night spot, and they even had textile stuff, all kind of things like textiles, welding, furniture making, everything was going on here. And then the Vietnamese government came and said, you must shut down this space, there's too much decadence here. Yeah, so the day I went there, they even had a gay art festival or something going on. So, and actually they tried to shut it down a few times, because we met some artists and we asked them, this is 1 weekend before the imminent shutdown date. So we went around asking the people are you guys scared? So they said, oh, they have told us too many times that they will shut down the space, but it always continues. But this time it was for real. When I was there last December, they actually went and shut down the space. But it was a really amazing place, and you'd be very surprised how come in socialist Vietnam they have a space like this. It was like a little island of freedom and everything. But now it's kind of gone. And
Anyone documented the space? The
yeah, you can find
activities,
like
everything?
if you go to sorry, yeah, just go and search for Zone 9 and Hanoi Grapevine. Hanoi Grapevine is a local like what's happening this week kind of a magazine. Wine is W-I-N-E or V-I-N-E? Yeah, Hanoi Grapevine. So yeah, yeah.
Oh nice, snapshots of Zone 9.
Yeah, so this girl, Pham Hong Wen, she's the editor at Hanoi Grapevine. So she actually wrote something about this when, in its like heydays, you know, like mid 2013, she wrote an article, and she wrote an article after it got shut down. So she was the one who took me around, and she introduced me to like a lot of artists who were there. It was really amazing place. I mean, I was just surprised that in 1 year they can build something so fascinating, and somebody has the heart to like go and shut it down. Okay, so that's yeah, just search for it. Okay, so yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
In Hanoi.
Yeah. So it's an abandoned factory. So it's at number 9, like District 9. So that's why they call it. This is how it looks like. So it just looks like a set of apartment blocks. But when you go in, it's very interesting. A lot of small cafes outside.
Wow.
Yeah. And then all these guys had to like shut down in a day
Mm.
and go.
Yeah, I heard a lot about how a lot of artist collectives are
Yeah.
being shut down.
Yeah.
That's terrible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But they also had some developers, so I met this guy. It's like some developers wanted to buy the place to build apartments.
Oh, that kind of
So it's like an
Not
excuse
programmers,
to
okay.
Property developer.
yeah,
Property
developers.
developers.
Yeah, so that's one thing which I saw, and I was like, wow, this. Yeah, but there's some kind of a, so they are looking for a new place, and there's an abandoned embassy, like one of the Eastern Bloc countries' embassy, I think Bulgarian or Romanian, and they say it's haunted. So that's the place they are looking for, because you know nobody's gonna come and
Yeah.
look for it.
Right, smart.
Well, the other thing I want to show you is just so like this year, I've been a very good husband. I'm spending more time with my wife.
Oh.
So I've been spending a lot of time in Japan. So one of the things I'm doing in Japan is trying to find things that are made in Japan, and it's very very hard. In the last 3 months of searching, yeah, because everything is made in China now. You know, it's so hard to find. Even this shirt, it's from Muji. It says made in India.
Right.
And in India, you can't find such simple shirt. They want to make it like really fancy.
Yeah,
So
They're exported.
yeah. So actually, I found like 3 things. I'll show you the 3 things. One is this bag. It's made by it's made with a canvas that is used to cover the trucks. You know, so it's like a local company, Hinamaru bags. They make it. And the nice thing is, many of these made in Japan things, the nice thing about them is these days they are not mass manufactured. So they give you like 10 years warranty. So there's the guy who makes it, he signs his name and he says in the next 10 years anything happens,
Come
you'll
back.
come back to me and I will fix it.
Wow.
I mean, it looks really well made.
Yeah, exactly. Very sturdy.
Yeah, and this you can actually, so the funny thing is I don't like to go to Akihabara in Japan because it's no longer that actual making space. It's like all, you know, the kids who go to buy games and the girls with the maid cafes. It's no longer like Shenzhen. I think Shenzhen is more cool these days than Akihabara. But this one time, my wife told me like, let's go to Akihabara. I will show you a secret place. So I said, I don't like that place. It's for otaku people. You know, so we went there, and then she took me towards the train station, below the train tracks, and there is like a whole block, like one station to the next station, under the train tracks. They have these independent artists and designers who have created studios. So that's where I found this. Like one of the companies had made this. Another day she said, let me take you to this place which is called Grandma's Shopping Street. So this is it's Setagaya. The area is called Setagaya. So she took me there. So she always does that. She'd say, I'll show you a secret place, and she'd take me to some place. So this is the place where I found my shoes, which are made in Japan, handmade in Japan. It's again a small
Hands is
package.
left, yeah.
Yeah, trousers not so, but I'm not going to remove it.
I was worried.
So again, this shoe has like some 5 years warranty and lifetime warranty for the sole apparently.
But is it expensive?
The bag was expensive. It was about $300. But I would say like for something that would last so long.
10 years, it's
Yeah,
worth
it's
it.
not. Yeah, and the shoe was like $150.
Right, right.
Yeah, which I kind of calculated. I
And
don't.
it's handmade and
But compared to other shoes in
Yeah.
Japan, it's
Yeah.
probably not that much more expensive, right?
yeah.
Yeah, and then the third thing is like is mass manufactured. But this is a flask which is made in Aichi Prefecture. You know, they say the factory is the same as the factory that used to make the Nakajima fighters, the Zero, but I don't believe it. You know, so this is
Is it a
very
dewar?
sleek.
Is it a proper thermos with a
yeah.
glass?
So this is a technology which you see a lot in Japan. Like there are different companies that are making it. It's like what they do is they take a single sheet of steel and then they fold it so there's a vacuum in the middle.
Ah, single.
Okay, so it's not like
Interesting.
sealed or
And it's not glass.
It's not glass. It's just metal.
Right.
Does it work? So there's
It's
air
works,
trapped
yeah.
inside.
So I actually tested it. You know, I put something and I kept for like a day and a half, and it was still hot.
Wow.
And then this was not very expensive. This is about say $40.
Do they
It's not so bad.
make smaller sizes?
They make smaller sizes, and they also have these cups for whiskey and beer.
Cups of whiskey.
Yeah, but those are very expensive. Like those were almost like $150 for a metal cup. Yeah. So there's like just one factory in. Again, it's kind of like a collective. They call themselves SUS. Yeah, so they make this. So these are the three things I could find which was made in Japan.
Yeah, definitely. So much more expensive.
No, it's steel. Yeah, you can.
I cannot believe like a single piece of metal with air trapped inside works as a good thermos.
Well, I mean, I was kind of suspicious. But
Yeah,
then I actually
exactly.
tried it.
This is amazing because
Yeah, and they these cups, they actually keep it in. If you go to Loft, you know, in Tokyo, they actually keep that cup, and they say we put the ice cubes in the morning, and until evening it's still there. And it's open. The top is open, just in a cup.
wow, this metal is a good conductor of heat, right? That was good to see air inside.
Cindy, do you want to tell us something about the activities in Georgia? And she just came back from a workshop, actually.
Yeah, whatever.
I don't have like pictures because I didn't bring my iPhone, but I went to Surabaya. I went to Surabaya mainly because I wanted to expand some of the research on citizen science and hackerspaces, or what we call hacking, or actually otak-atik in Indonesia, which means tinkering with something. So I went to this place called C2O. It's a collective library archives kind of thing, but they are having this new workshop with another hackerspace called WAF Lab. They make synthesizers, mostly for noise music. There's a strong noise community in Indonesia. Yeah. And well, C2O is interesting because they're trying to create new narratives of Surabaya. Mainly because Surabaya is what most Indonesians deem as in between Jogja and Jakarta. They have a strong number of companies from, even in Singapore, very strong economic zone. But also, there are many designers and architects. So I found something that, well, it's strange that I brought all these things since it's instinctive when I come to. This is called Sunday's Market. I will call it a bit like a hipster town kind of thing. But there are a lot of local makers there. And you should check it out. It's 3 months once in Surabaya. And a lot of designers and artists and they do things here. But I met the founder, but I didn't manage to go for the Sunday's Market because it's 3 months once. But what is interesting about Surabaya is that they're trying to find their identity. So there's a strong Arab quarter there, strong Chinese population.
And they shut down Dolly.
Yeah. Shut down Dolly, exactly. I wanted to go to Dolly.
Dolly
Is a
is
strong sex worker.
It's the Asia's biggest red light area.
Yes.
Asia's biggest?
Yeah.
I thought it was in India.
But it's shut down. But now most of the sex workers are doing street walking.
Well, that's even worse, right?
Yeah.
Or good.
Would you like to tell us something about Dolly?
Was it also an academic study like the Korean was it the TV channels in the hotel room?
Yeah.
Foresight.
Yeah.
We have done a lot of research in the past in the interest of science.
But yeah, I mean, you guys should visit Surabaya. Maybe because I feel that it's much marginalized by the art capital of Indonesia, say Yogyakarta, and also the commerce area of Jakarta. So it's somewhere in between, and I would recommend CTO if anybody wants to go. I had a sort of fermentation and I was trying this fluorescence thing in Surabaya. Very nice community, people are very engaged. But then Yogyakarta, like Denisa also knows, and Alex as well, with Alex.
Yeah.
And in Yogyakarta it's slightly interesting because most of the initiatives are done by the people themselves. And I think that's the most intriguing point for me because they know how to communicate with the community and they create technologies that are not only what we call high-end, but something that's physically very relevant to them. So I know that they're doing with biodesign for the real world with Sachiko, and they are doing river monitoring. But at the end of the year, a few members of LifePatch, myself, and also a hacker from Austria is doing this project called NENEC project. We are going to interview some of the mothers of LifePatch, which is art science hackerspace in Yogyakarta, and trying to find out about what they think about technology. So we're going to introduce some form of, I think, tentatively we're thinking of wearable technology using lily pads, but we are trying to find out about technology in terms of women older than 60 years old, to ask them to share knowledge. Mainly because I feel that technology and gender has been very much, it's very controversial terrain, and it's good to know both of this together and sort of understand what form of technologies they have. So please come in December if you want to. I have a place, it's called, well, now it's called Say One Food Lab, but it's just a place for you to just stay in if you want to, and we're happy to host you if you want. Yeah.
Actually, Cindy is an extreme case because not only she travels through these Indonesian hackerspaces, you are renting a house there.
Yeah,
You're in
I
the
rented a
process of moving there.
Yeah.
So where are you staying right now?
It's in Sewon. It's a place that's populated by a lot of rice fields. What I feel slightly,
It's like Bali, basically.
yeah, it's slightly like Bali. I feel slightly sad mainly because most of the farmers there have to meet productivity index. So most of them use insecticides and pesticides basically. So you have a lot of insects fluttering into my house, but within 30 minutes they die. And I think it's sort of a thing that's not really addressed in terms of Indonesian biodiversity. Most people think about Sulawesi, most people think about Papua, but nobody thinks about Jakarta, nobody thinks about Yogyakarta in terms of biodiversity. So, yeah. Please to come if you want to.
I have an interesting incident from Solo City.
Solo,
which is
Surakarta.
another nice city in Indonesia if you want to visit. So I was there last year for Indonesia has this big blogger festival. They get bloggers from all over the different provinces of Indonesia. So last year was in Solo. And then after the event, I was still sticking around. I had a local friend, she's from Jakarta, and she said, let me show you something interesting. And then she just messaged, like, everybody's using Twitter in Indonesia. She just messaged them, we are free, anybody around doing something, and 2 guys turned up. Then she asked them to take us to this small village nearby. So we rode on these motorbikes to this small town, and they went like hiding into small lanes, and they reached this building where this old lady, she's brewing Jew.
Jew! I love Jew!
Traditional alcohol.
Yeah, traditional alcohol.
And then these are like shell drums, petroleum drums.
Yeah.
And they have like handmade pipes going. It almost looks like Frankenstein lab or something. And this old, like, she must be like almost 70 years old. She's running she's distilling. She's running the whole operation. And then my friend starts taking pictures. She turns around and says, don't post on Facebook. Police will come.
Yeah, police will come.
She knows. Say you can keep the photo, but don't paste on Facebook.
They will not even arrest her, but they will ask money from her.
Yeah.
That's the most important thing in Indonesia.
Corruption.
And it's really strong.
It's what strong rice, fermented rice, distilled fermented rice.
Jew, I'm not so sure actually.
Yeah, it's from rice. I think it's made from rice. Yeah. Yeah. And then I think if Indonesia had a space program, they could run it on it. It's so powerful.
Interestingly, I found also another person in Yogyakarta that off in the north. They do have very big distillers, and they sell Naikoli and sake.
Wow.
They distill their own, yeah. So
Yeah, there's no no health label, nothing. They just take
no
any
health label,
random
yeah, everybody just
bottle.
drinks it.
It was in Antiparos, Greek island.
Yeah.
I had one at a restaurant, this amazing spirit. Wow, where can I get this? Yeah, well, the shop next to the post office. Light bulb moment. Every time I walked past the post office, I remember thinking, this place smells like a still. So it turned out that it was a still. And so, same thing, a woman in her 70s at least, who of course spoke no English. We got to the point where, okay, she's holding a sort of Evian type bottle and a funnel, and she's pointed me at a flagon. She's not strong enough to lift the flagon.
Yeah.
So I'm to decant a litre and a quarter of this stuff into a water bottle to purchase. So yeah, same sort of deal.
I mean, this will return. Like my grandparents, they come from the Balkans, and it's pretty common there. Every family makes wine, but also the leftovers from the fruits. You make grappa or you make something. So even now, my grandma makes about 20 kilos of that stuff.
Is it a very gendered practice?
And yeah, no, actually, you have guys, women, old women, all kinds of people making. But the way it was interesting how the state tried to regulate it. So it was illegal, and then it was all secret. Then they tried to make it legal, but to ask people to pay taxes on the alcohol and make it a bit more safe, because they go to a place where I guess someone is monitoring the temperatures and everything, so it's much safer than it used to be. But it used to be completely illegal. Now it's legal, but you have to pay the taxes, and there are still people doing it illegally. But it's I think we will slowly return to that model if we start having more of these farms, urban farms or something. Because what would you do with these leftovers?
Yeah.
The easiest thing is really to let it ferment more and then just make stuff. So for them it's not a big deal. It's just
Is that all? Anybody else wants to share anything? Okay. Well, thank you very much. And
thank you.
Thanks everybody for sharing.
Thank you.
The last thing is, so a couple of things that we got that's still left over from our trip to Chile, which we shared about earlier, are a kind of tea called yerba mate, and I have some over here, so you can
you have to treat them. You have the right
the right thing
for
to.
that.
And also there is a tea from Kokoli.
Carry it around.
Kokali.
Coca.
Kokali.
Ah,
Yeah.
what a leaf.